The day's big witness was a former security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel. He said Diddy paid him $100,000 to fork over what he thought was the one and only copy of a video of Cassie's assault. We also heard from someone inside Diddy's business empire, the former chief financial officer of Bad Boy Entertainment. Now, he claimed everything he did for the company was totally above board. And the jury saw a $20,000 wire transfer from Cassie's dad to Diddy, which was sent back days later. We heard that before, remember, from earlier testimony. But prosecution really wanted the jury to focus on this. That surveillance video, first obtained by CNN exclusively, showing Diddy beating Cassie Ventura in 2016, and specifically what Diddy allegedly did to make sure that it would never get out. That same day the assault happened, a former security officer for the Intercontinental Hotel, Eddie Garcia, testified the phone, well, it started ringing, and a lot. The calls were from Diddy's chief of staff, Kristina Karam. Now, a reminder, she has not been charged in this case and has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing. Garcia says at one point she put Diddy himself on the line, and Garcia recalled what Diddy told him. He stated that I sounded like a good guy, but I sounded like I wanted to help, and that something like this can ruin him. Garcia said Diddy sounded nervous and promised to take care of him. Garcia, he then went to his boss and told him Diddy was willing to pay. His boss suggested $50,000. Garcia then called Diddy back, testifying he was excited. He said, Eddie, my angel, I knew you could help. I knew you could do it. Garcia got the video on a thumb drive from his boss the next day, and then he gave it to Diddy in person. Garcia told the court that Diddy made him sign an NDA, and he said he even spoke with Cassie Ventura over FaceTime, saying, quote, she said that she had a movie coming out and that it wasn't a good time for this to come out. She wanted it to go away. Now, Garcia claimed that Diddy then brought out a brown paper bag full of cash and counted out $100 grand with a money counter. Garcia said that he split that money with his boss and another security officer. Now, the next witness was former Bad Boy Entertainment CFO, Derek Ferguson. Now, he testified that Diddy's personal and business finances would sometimes overlap, but he said he never saw anyone help Diddy commit crimes. The prosecution also showed a statement from Diddy's bank account for his New Jersey home. It shows the account transferring $20,000 to Cassie on December 14, 2011. On December 23rd, Cassie's dad wired $20,000 into the account. 4 days later, it was sent back. Now, that lines up with the testimony from Cassie Ventura's mother on the stand. Recall that she said that she sent Diddy $20,000 after Cassie told her Diddy was threatening to leak sex tapes. Let's begin with the reporter who broke the story of that now infamous Cassie surveillance footage, CNN's own Elizabeth Wagmeister. Elizabeth, so glad to have you here. The importance of this video cannot be overstated, and to have you be the person to whose we get it was just unbelievable in the development of this case. But we've known about the $100 grand payout for quite some time. We had no idea how instrumental and individualized attention was given by Diddy.
This was brand new information. So as you said, we have heard that $100,000 figure before that came from the government's indictment, but they had no other details in the indictment other than he paid $100,000 to try to bribe someone to get this away. What we heard today shows the alleged great lengths and efforts that Diddy himself, as a world-renowned celebrity, took to make sure that this was buried. You heard Eddie Garcia say on the stand, Diddy himself told him, this can ruin me, this can ruin my career. That gives us a clear state of mind that Diddy was in. He knew that his behavior on that was egregious. He knew it could ruin him. As you said, he called him Eddie, my angel. Strange name to call someone that you've never met. Also strange for a celebrity to get on the phone with you himself. They usually have people do that for them, and he did. As you said, Kristina Karam was on the phone, but she constantly brought Diddy on there. Just really an incredible picture of what Eddie Garcia testified happened, that he is brought by Diddy up to this hotel room. given a brown bag full of $100,000 cash.
A man who makes $10.50 an hour at the time.
Exactly. And then that Diddy comes out with a money counting machine, which Eddie Garcia testified. He told the jury, it seems like he's done this before. And then Diddy himself takes Eddie Garcia down the elevator and basically, bids him farewell. He pays for his valet at the hotel and he asks him, what are you going to do with this money? And tells him, don't spend it all at once, meaning it could get suspicious. So really, again, brand new information and showing the great lengths that Diddy allegedly went to make sure that this never came out.
So how did the defense then try to follow that? Because that is some pretty compelling testimony to talk about the prosecution's case, that he was allegedly aware that he didn't want this to see the light of day, which means potentially law enforcement would never see it.
That's right. And cross-examination was very brief, Laura. As you said, there's a ton of testimony to get into, seemingly damning testimony if these allegations that Eddie Garcia testified are all true. But all that the defense did is they pulled up this non-disclosure agreement, which Eddie Garcia told the jury that Diddy handed him, as he also handed him that bag of $100,000. And the defense, they showed a paragraph that says, in this NDA, it doesn't say that you can't testify about this one day. So basically trying to show they're not prohibiting him from participating in a trial like this, but that's really not the point. The takeaway with showing this NDA is it was on company letterhead. The top of that NDA said Combs Enterprises. And there was also a clause in there that told him if he breached the contract, he would have to pay the company, not Combs, the company, $1 million.
The so-called liquidated damages. That was one of two contracts that was essentially important here. He was also testifying under immunity.
That's right. And, that shows that Eddie Garcia, at least, was nervous because he knows that he was involved with covering something egregious up.
Let's talk about this with the lawyers. I really am curious to see what they have to say. Come with me, Elizabeth Magmeister, because I've got a phenomenal panel of people with me here tonight. I've got, of course, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson, former federal prosecutor Barrett Berger, and former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. This was quite a day as I move my way onto this chair. This was quite a day. I want to go right to this idea, Jeremy, of the hotel security guard. First of all, testifying under immunity, that he admitted that Combs gave him money to make sure this video went away. Now, we know some people might call this a bribe, colloquially. Is it enough for the prosecution to say, no, this was most assuredly a type of bribe that would be a predicate crime, as they keep saying, for RICO?
Of course they're going to argue that was a predicate crime in addition to the obstruction. But so what? Meaning, if someone came after me because I did something truly bad, or even alleging I did something really bad, I have a legal career. I might say, I will pay you money because you're taking advantage and you're actually extorting me. You might do the same. And if you have the other party saying, I'm in agreement, I have a movie, I don't want this coming out, when does me doing an NDA, Stormy Daniels was an NDA, and that in and of itself was not the illegality. Why can't someone who has so much to lose, who's a hands-on freak, not just into freak-offs, be fully on this entire episode to shut it down? Because if that domestic violence tape ever came out, he's screwed.
I'm so glad you mentioned Stormy Daniels, because I've been thinking about this today in terms of a jury that might be all the more fluent than they probably ever would have been in New York about catch and kill, right? This phenomenon where you've got bad press coming out and you're paying a tabloid or otherwise to say, how about you just take that and it never sees the light of day? And we didn't see a RICO charge in that case. That was state court, obviously, so very different. But when you hear about that and think about how a jury might view, well, hold on, celebrities all the time, they've got DUIs, they've got videos, they've got dirt and skeletons. Isn't damage control part of what the rich folk do?
I mean, I think there has to be a difference between damage control and seeing a potential criminal case coming down the pipe and saying, I don't want that criminal case to ever see the light of day. And that's how I see these are being two separate situations. In the scenario you painted, absolutely. If you do something that's embarrassing or could cause you reputational harm, you want to shut it down, you want to pay somebody money, that could be a contractual agreement between two people, God bless. However, if you've committed a crime and there is evidence of that crime, and you tell somebody, I want to obtain and get rid of essentially the only copy, all evidence of my crime, that to me starts looking a lot more like obstruction than just a contract.
But what